रंग मन में दिखाए, प्रकाशित हृदय में ईश्वर आहे।
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। What we were discussing is about how the vasanas themselves determine what knowledge comes in. So the lesser the vasana for something, the more dramatic an expression you require. And the greater the vasana, the greater the interest in that thing, the more subtle expression is enough. This works whether this is material or anything. For instance, an artist. An artist will see art everywhere, where we won't notice it, but that person will see it. Right? Do you remember that house we went to where that was there? Or something like that. Somebody went deeply interested in music. We will notice things that the rest of us don't notice. So, I am almost tone deaf. And unfortunately, I got married into a family of classical musicians. It's quite sad for me. They know all sorts of things, and I'm the local duffer. And they're so good. They're the teachers of the subject, so you can imagine how good everyone is. Now, they will notice all sorts of things that I have not seen. In whose house, what instrument, what musical books, what this, what that. And I am blissfully unaware of everything. When they, my father-in-law was a concert violinist as a hobby. Can you believe that? A hobby he did that. He played with orchestra. Orchestra means symphony orchestra. Now, for these people, it is so easy for them to notice everything about music, which for me is nothing, can't see it at all. So the more the interest in something, the less the need to see it. The greater, suppose there's a bookcase, okay? And 5 different people look at that bookcase. They will see different books. It's very interesting. If my husband sees it, he will see all music books. If I see it, I will see the Vedanta books. If Deepraj sees it, he will see math books. If Mukesh Bajaria sees it, he will see pharmacy books. And each one of us will represent that bookshelf differently. So the vasana and your capacity to see that are directly linked. So if you're very interested in spirituality, for instance, you will feel the hand of God in everything. If you're less interested in spirituality, you will say, oh, that fellow is very spiritual. He does all these miracles. You need a miracle or something to evoke that sense of spirituality. So there is this direct connect. Now, why are we studying this? Because this tells us how difficult it is for us to take in new information. You know, you may think to yourself, I've been studying Vedanta for so long, but I'm still like this, I'm still like that. It takes a long time. First, you have to take in the information. Then you have to change the personality in accordance to the information. You know, sometimes you just feel fed up. This is all too long. It's just taking way too long. But there's only one advantage in the process. You know what's the advantage in the process?
Yes,
What?
there's no loss of effort.
Wow, very good, Reshma. Correct. Whatever you get, you got. You got it forever now. You're never going to lose it. Because once you get it, you've got it. Very good, Reshma. So that's the only advantage. Otherwise, it's a really slow process. That is why we try to catch hold of people and take them to a residential thing in the hope that you can stuff something in quickly. No, because when you live it, it's with you all the time. So there's an additional sort of push in that thing. And hopefully you create stronger and stronger desires. So far, so good, everybody. All right, shall we continue?
Yes, Janki ma'am.
The presence of vasanas, desires, also prevent the input of fresh information. The strong desire will overrun the ground reality. This is a very important sentence for us in terms of our life. A strong desire will overrun the ground reality. Can you give me examples of this? Strong desire overruns the ground reality.
Love.
Okay, say it fully and properly.
When you're in love with someone, no matter what the reality is, you will only see what you want or what you decide.
Very good. What else? Give other desires. Give other ways how the desire overruns the ground reality. Come on, they're not so tough.
When you really want to go out and go out and travel, you don't see your bank balance.
You don't see your bank. It's okay. For your children, yes. Which is there any mother in the world who finds her child not as good? Every mother finds her child is the best in the world. Yes, Mukesh.
Is it because it benefits you? It's at your advantage, whatever the situation is, and you overlook everyone else around you?
Oh, yeah, that is an example of it. But it's not necessary that it's advantageous to you. Like, for instance, if you are, let's take Reshma's example, you are in love with an abusive person. That person is beating you up, but you think he loves me or she loves me, whichever. You're not able to see that the person is treating you badly. So it is your desire. In fact, desire overruns self-interest also. That is the sad part of this whole. Anybody wants to give any other example? Think. Always think in terms of ground reality, because you're learning what ground reality is. Yes. Harry, in politics, you see only what you like in a candidate you like. Oh, yes, okay. But a better example would probably be people who are very racist. So whatever their views on that race is, or that caste, or that creed, or that community, it will override ground reality. If they like the community, it will override it that way. If they don't like it, it will override it. So in all spheres in life, very interesting is many women like to look nice. So you go and tell them you're looking very nice, and they're very happy with you. They don't even stop for 1 minute and say, is this sentence true? That is how all sorts of fakers can make us do all sorts of things, because they shine that desire in front of us. A good salesman can make you buy anything. Why can he make you buy that? When you go home, you realize, oh, why did I buy this? But that time, he could make you get it. Why? He wasn't selling you a product. He was nudging at your desires.
Creating a desire in you.
He can't create a desire, but he can nudge it.
Okay, it's there already. He can just trigger it.
Yeah, he triggers it, correct.
Okay.
So every one of us, say, has this deep desire for security. Now, suppose you live in a very safe place. Most of the people are keeping their doors open also. It's such a safe place. But he will sell you an alarm system, a camera thing, everything, based on who knows what will happen. Suppose somebody comes. So people cannot sell you a product. They sell you your own desires. And if he's smart enough to understand your desire, he can make you buy anything in this world. So,
And there's a reason all these propaganda movies gain traction.
yes, all the propaganda movies gain traction because you basically believe that. All selling is to the choir only. Because if you didn't already believe it, nobody's going to change your mind from that matter. That is why even when we are trying to tell people to study Vedanta, you've all experienced this. You have gone and told people, come and study it. And they will give you all sorts of reasons why they shouldn't. And there is nothing you can say that will change them. Nothing. You feel that there's some logical reasoning, some emotional thing, nothing. There is nothing you can say that will change their view on them. You can see it in your own, in your marriage too. Suppose you want X and your spouse wants Y. There is nothing that you can say to your spouse that they will want X. And there is nothing they can say to you that will then make you want Y. Because we are all nothing but a bundle of our own vasanas. Just a bundle of it. And anybody who can trigger things in that will get reaction from us. Anybody who cannot trigger those things in us will get no reaction. And we will be with that person or that object or that situation until we believe that these vasanas are going to be catered. And if we don't believe that, we aren't going to stay there one additional minute.
Could you please repeat that last bit?
From where? As long as we feel that this situation, person, object is going to cater to our desires, we will be there. And if we believe it won't, nothing will make us stay there another minute.
Okay.
You don't understand that we are just this bundle. There's no point saying I don't have desires. People talk nonsense like that. What do you mean you don't have desires? There is no individual who doesn't have desires. We are all nothing but a bundle of these desires. Now, if you understand this, you'll understand how difficult it is to take in knowledge. Because taking in knowledge means learning something new. See the problem in this whole thing. Even when we come to class, we are merely repeating what we know. That is why if you ask, what is the flow of thought? Most people cannot give the flow of, because they were not listening to it. Their own thing is going on. Some people can give the flow of. You know why they can give the flow of thought?
It aligns with what they have already learned.
Very good. Excellent. So who is concentrating? Nobody is concentrating. You heard it before, you can say it. If you've not heard it before, Gaya.
What was Zebra's answer? Can
Go ahead, Deepraj. Please repeat.
So the thing is, people can follow the flow of thought because it is something they had already thought. So it just matches, it's overlaps.
It's very difficult to listen. Very, very difficult. So this is the problem in Shravana. That we have desires, we will only listen to those things which cater to those desires. So how on earth are we going to learn something new? How is this going to happen? There has to be some very powerful motivation to learn something new. And in our case, that extremely powerful motivation can only be
Residential course.
that is no powerful motivation at all. What is the powerful motivation to make us listen? How are you going to listen to something for which you don't already have it? That's
When we understand the value, or we desire that.
Yeah, so that the motivation means desire. So what is that desire in our case?
something
You're talking about the spiritual.
magnificent?
Self-realization.
Yeah, if you had a very strong desire, the mumukshatva, the desire for realization, the desire for development will force you to pay attention. But you have to have a very powerful motivation. If you come to class thinking, oh, this is nice, I will rest, I'll feel nice, then no new knowledge will go. You'll only be repeating what you already know. It's to have a powerful motivation that will break through this vasana barrier.
Doesn't it lead to a chicken and egg situation? Like we need Shravana to help us develop, but we need development to have Shravana.
No, why development to have Shravana?
No, the strong desire is a result of development, right?
No, of course not. Who told you that? Where did that come from? Absence of desire is development, not presence of desire. So you actually, when you come here, what are you doing? You are inculcating desire. Now, are you inculcating desires when you come here?
So that you can take in new knowledge.
Oh, okay, fine. Why? What does that mean? You can take in new knowledge is true, but why do you need to inculcate the desire when you come here?
To
Because
strengthen that
it's
desire.
higher desire.
So therefore, what happens? Nilofer?
The higher desire helps the lower desire to drop.
Very good. Very good, Asha. So you inculcating a new desire in the hope of the lower one falling. Now, what happens is, that's not what happens in 9 out of 10 cases. Why is that not what happens? Because that's not what people want. People want instant. Okay, I came to class, I felt very good. And I will continue to come to class as long as I feel good. And as long as I can do it conveniently. Don't make me do anything uncomfortable. All this, if you fill in all the categories, all ticks, okay, it's comfortable, it's convenient, nobody bothers you too much, then you do it. But the moment the pressure starts, then you know. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. That's what they say, right? So, who is willing to take that additional step? Why would you leave the comfort and take that additional step? There has to be a strong motivation. That's strong, something strong. Yeah, Reshma. Reshma, you raised your hand?
Yes. So when we are saying to inculcate desire, the underlying thought would be that some desire has to be already there, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't even be here. Is that right?
If we wouldn't be here means that you have an interest in philosophy, otherwise you wouldn't be here. That statement is correct. Use pronouns.
Yeah, so we
Don't
can.
use pronouns, use nouns so that we know what exactly you're talking about.
So it is possible. So we are trying to make that desire stronger because it is there. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense, right?
Why?
Because if a person doesn't have a desire in the first place,
Hmm.
first of all, they may not even be in a classroom like this or anywhere else. So if that, and because they can only see what they already desire, how will it get created?
That's what I'm saying. There has to be a powerful motivation. Some
Yeah,
powerful
but the
motivation.
desire, so you're saying desire for self-realization should be there, right?
No, I'm not saying that desire for self-realization should be there. I'm saying when there is a very powerful desire, a very powerful motivation, it's something you really want, then you'll be able to get past this problem of your vasanas preventing you from hearing things.
Right, but you will only have a desire for what your vasanas are.
Yeah, but you can choose also to want differently. Yeah, okay, so you have a desire for realization or whatever, you can, in any desire. Wait, don't let's get into now choice, because you are aware that you can create a desire, right? Yeah, so where is the problem? I'm not able to get.
Right, so unless one makes that choice, and the rest of it will not happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, don't keep using pronouns. These are general principles which are applicable across the board, whether it is for development or whether it is for anything in the world. So use the right word whenever you're talking. Don't say this, that, it. Don't talk like that. When you're saying a principle, say it properly. So then we know we are all saying the same thing. Otherwise, all the pronouns, nobody knows what's going on. So when you have an extremely powerful motivation, it is the only thing that has the ability to help you break through the incrustation of your vasana. Otherwise, it can't be done. Now, what is that powerful motivation and for which you're learning something new? Well, your powerful motivation can be, I want to become Wimbledon champion. So you never used to love jogging, but your coach tells you have to go jogging, so you go jogging. You need something. If you're going to ever achieve anything, you need something powerfully pushing at you. Otherwise, you would never do it. And this is true, whichever the field, whatever thing, these are universally applicable things. Is that clear?
Thank you.
Namita, we can have a desire to drop the lower when we recognize it is an obstacle. So the desire can be to get rid of something we do not like in us to replace with something higher. That's a bit complicated, Mamita. You don't want to drop anything lower, nor you, nor I, nor anyone. The lower is what we enjoy. None of us want to drop it. Okay, this is our life. The lower is our life. Higher means that which is beyond what I am currently. At the moment, whatever I am is the lower. Higher is something that is above that. Could be anything. So we can have a desire to drop the lower when we recognize it as an obstacle to that very powerful motivation we had. So you finish your sentence, it will become right. So obstacle to what? If there is a very powerful motivation, then you will be willing to give up something you wanted. Suppose you want to go to sleep at night. You're feeling tired. Your son is not well. And he needs to be taken to the hospital. Will you give up your desire to sleep? You will, right? But will you give it up just like that? Suppose you want to sleep and someone tells you, no, don't sleep. Will you agree with this? Never. So there has to be some powerful motivation that makes you do something apart from what you wanted to do. Okay, that is why all high achievers are extremely disciplined. The rest of us, feel like eating an ice cream, eat an ice cream. Feel like seeing a movie, see a movie. Feel like reading a book, read a book. Whatever you feel like, if you do. Nobody who's achieved anything in life functions like that. They are a very clear schedule of what they're going to do. That's why in the course, we have a very clear schedule. You have to do this, and then you have to do this, and then you have to do this, and then you have to do this. You can't say, I can't do yoga today. I can't do exercise today. Can't do all this stuff. You come to the course and do the whole thing. Why like that? Because if you want to be achieving anything in this world, you will have to be able to do what you need to do rather than what you would like to do. Okay, now why will you take on all this trouble? Because there is something making it. So any high achiever is a highly disciplined person. Why are we not high achievers? We don't understand discipline. We say, oh, I'm not comfortable doing it. And when we answer to somebody like that, it's a completely justified answer for us. Somehow that doesn't appeal to me. It's a completely justified answer in my mind, not to a high achiever. An achiever is one who set a target and will do whatever it takes to reach it. Okay, so what I'm trying to talk about is how when you have an extremely strong motivation, you're willing to put aside what you are comfortable with.
If I understand the statement correctly, then
1 second, let me just
sure.
check that I finish whatever Momita is saying. So the desire can be to get rid of something we do not like in us, to replace with something better. The other way around. I want something and therefore I have to get rid of something. You don't get rid of something to get that, because nobody will do that. Okay? Does motivation arise from desire? Mahesh. Does motivation arise from desire? Everything arises from desire, but in the way we are using the term motivation, it is that you have the desire and you have the intellectual backing of that desire. Otherwise, we all have so many desires. Nobody's achieving anything in this world. Too many desires and very little achievement is how. Suppose I ask Nilanjan, would you like to have a beautiful villa in the Caribbean? And you say, yeah, I'd love to have a beautiful villa in the Caribbean. What about Rolls Royce? Yes, no? What about Rolls Royce? Would you like to have a Rolls Royce?
I would love to.
Sure. Why not? Everything we want. But how many of us have that villa in the Caribbean or the Rolls Royce or the everything, right? None of us have this. Why not? Because desires are many. All of us, all of us would like it. Suppose, do you want to be very slim? Yeah, of course, I want to be very slim. We all want to be slim like Momita and Nilanjan. But are we slim like that? No. Why are we not slim like that? Are we willing to take what it requires to be that? Each one of us has millions of things of this. Yeah, we'll have that also. We'll have that also. Sab kuch de do mujhe. Takes work. That work has to be intellectual. Therefore, motivation, or does motivation arise from desire? Yeah, it is desire. It's a very powerful desire. It's a very powerful desire which is which is being directed hopefully by your intellect. Otherwise, you will be backed into the high seas. So yes, motivation does arise from desire as does everything else. Yeah, Deepraj.
No, my question was exactly regarding this. It's like discipline cannot be the I was thinking discipline cannot be the outgrowth of just having a very strong desire, because that because if it's mind-led, then we'll just go clashing with the world again and again. So it has to be under the governance of the intellect.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
But the thing is that even if you have a very little intellect, but some intellect at least a very little intellect, you will realize that you're not achieving anything by your behavior. That will dawn on you. And so you will start correcting that. If you have a little intellect, if you have no intellect at all, then you will say, you won't blame yourself for not achieving it. You will say the circumstances are like that, other people are like that, blah, blah, all this stuff.
That gets to me that gets me to another question. Like, how does one get to such a high desire level?
How does one get to such a high desire level? That nobody can answer, Deepraj. It's like asking me, that boy loves that girl so much. How do I learn to love somebody so much? Can't. Either you are or you aren't. I mean, nobody can tell you how to love somebody like that. Either you do or you don't. It's a call you make, right? It's something that interests you enough. Nobody can, suppose a mother is saying, oh, that mother loves that child so much. How can I learn to love my child so much? No, I don't know how to answer that question. It is what you want. Do you want it? And if your answer to that is yes, then it's my second question. Are you willing to pay the price? Because ain't getting nothing without paying the price.
So we can't get to such a high desire level without the application of the intellect, because the price that we pay is the discipline, right?
No, the intellect only directs the desire. Okay, think of it like this. There is a ship. The wind has to be very powerful so that the ship moves. If there is no powerful wind, how will that poor ship move? But if that movement is not directed by the captain, that ship will go and crash in the rocks.
And we don't know what got the wind so
That's
fast.
the desire. The gust of wind is your desire. The captain is your intellect.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we,
One second, Karun, I'll just come to you.
Sorry.
Yeah, Nilüfer.
can we say that as the intellect increases, the desires also move towards the higher? Or they're not necessarily that correlation?
Yeah, not necessarily that correlation, because the problem with having an intellect is that the moment you get it, you are able to see how this whole situation can benefit you. And you are able to see this. And you then can use it for that purpose. In which case your desires are all stagnating, right? It stays there. But the moment we take a single step forward, it becomes obvious how this is going to be beneficial. So you have to be in control of yourself and not go down that street. if you want development, if you want that thing, of course, it's called encashing.
Right. So you're saying growth of intellect does not necessarily mean growth of correct motive. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, Taruna.
Ma'am, you said even if you have very less intellect, you will further line are not able to get it.
You want something. Okay. Okay, you want your husband to buy you a diamond necklace. So you go to him and you ask him, give me a diamond necklace. I'm assuming you don't have money of your own. Okay, you don't have money, he has to buy it. Now you tell him, buy me a diamond. And he says, no, I won't buy it. Then you fight with him. Did you get your diamond necklace? You didn't. So now if you're minimum intellect, you will think, what can I do now so that I do get my diamond necklace? If you have no intellect, you'll say, I've got such a bad husband, never buy me a diamond. Right? You blame him.
Right.
If you have minimum intellect, you say, okay, what can I do now? So, okay, let me make his favorite dinner for him. Then you make his favorite dinner for him. Then you say, और वो diamond necklace के बारे में क्या सोचा? So you, if you have a minimum intellect, you will begin to modulate your actions according to your intellect, according to your goal. So when you start doing this, you are able to see how you can get everything for yourself. So that's when your little higher intellect will say, Acha, theek hai, you can get many things for yourself, but we've got more important things to do around here.
Okay, so with the minimum intellect, you can get things done. That's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you will achieve your targets. People who don't achieve their targets are people who don't have an intellect enough to achieve it.
But we are talking about the minimum intellect with reference to the how to with reference to the motivation thing. We were using it.
Yeah, that's how you begin discipline, no? Modulating your behavior to suit the goal is discipline.
Okay.
So if the higher the goal, the more your discipline will have to be modulated. Suppose you want to be Wimbledon champion. You cannot just be sweet to your husband and become Wimbledon champion. You have to do so many things. That means your whole day starts getting filled with all the activities you need to do.
Okay.
So the higher the goal, the more areas of your life it will cover.
Right.
If your goal is self-realization, it has to govern every single thing.
Okay, so the lower the desire, the less the discipline required in a way. Okay.
Yes, because now if I'm Wimbledon champion and if I have to be Wimbledon champion, I have to basically make sure I'm healthy, I'm fit, I eat the right food, I do my practice, I need to do these things. But I don't need to be friends with my neighbor. It doesn't come within the ambit of that goal. But suppose I want self-realization. Then I have to be loving to everybody also. I have to take care of my health also. I do all these things. I get up in the morning also. Everything I have to do. I can't, not a single point in my day will go without it having reference to that goal.
Cannot go unchecked. Right.
It will be completely disciplined because it's all, everything you're doing is either taking you closer or further.
Right. Thank you.
You said everything is either taking closer or further. How do you go further away?
By inculcating desire. Suppose I say, I can like Deep Raj. Then will I go near the self? I can't, right? I cannot afford to have a single negative thought towards a single person, no matter what that person does. I cannot afford to have a single attachment thought, like I like this person more. May not be decrease of liking, but maybe increase of liking. No, can't afford it. And there's no action involved. So every single thing is ruled by the goal that you have set for yourself.
regarding this very strong desire, say that there's two students. One is a postgraduate student, and the other one is a student in the first standard. Now, both have the same goal of getting a PhD, right? So the postgraduate student has to do certain activities, and the first standard student has to do certain activities, right? And they both view the final goal differently because they are at different levels. But the motivation can be the same.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Well, how can motivation be the same? Because the clarity of goal is different.
It has to be clear to that individual. See, when you're talking of clarity, you're saying this person understands PhD better than that person. But we are not talking about an external person. We're talking about the person himself or herself.
Okay.
To him or her, that is very clear what they are
Okay.
doing. I mean, unless they strongly want whatever it is they have pitched up, they're not going to be disciplined at all.
Okay. Whatever be the understanding, clarity is with reference to that level.
Yeah. For in this case, this person will be very clear about what they want. That is why they are modulating their actions, right? That's why they are adjusting their actions to suit whatever it is they have decided.
Right.
Okay. So the only point of this whole story was when you have a vasana, you can take in knowledge. And when you don't have a vasana, it is difficult to take in that knowledge. I hope that point is still available with everybody. Okay, that's what we were discussing. That if the vasana is already there, the interest is already there, then you see that, you hear that, you think of it. If it is not there, you don't. So what can override it is
A very strong desire.
and there's to be some other very strong desire that is forcing you to do this thing. Because this you don't have a desire. Or you have an excessive desire for and you can't do it. So why will you not do it? Why will you not follow those likes and dislikes? Because you've got something else that is making you do it.
And it has to be a subtler desire, otherwise it cannot battle with the other desires, right?
Depends. That is not necessarily true. Otherwise, no worldly achiever will achieve anything. Every achiever, well, even if you're trying to rob a bank, you still have to do that. No, whether you're a criminal or an executive or whatever, you want to become a very talented singer, whatever in the world it is.
Janki, sometimes it appears very dismal. On the one hand, you are bound by vasana. You have to have a big breakthrough. So sometimes you feel that the destination is unattainable, you know.
That is why they recommend sometimes this great devotion to the Lord or devotion to the teacher or devotion to the cause. Huge, that if it's not like a huge motivation, it can be a huge emotion.
Okay.
That pushes you through. Like how sometimes mothers, they see their child under the car, they may pick the car up on it. I mean, it's a reported thing that they do these things. That they lift the car because such a powerful emotion is driving. So it's not like you have to create something. It is if you pick anything in your personality which you feel strongly about, then go with that.
Okay.
But you have to feel it or think it or whatever. But you have to be strong. So the presence of vasanas, desires, also prevent the input of fresh information. The strong desire will overrun the ground reality. what one knows has to be surmounted to learn what one does not know. What one knows has to be surmounted. You have to cross that to learn what one does not know. Because whenever you hear something, it will only remind you of things that you do know. Desire is the cause and also the barrier to learning. It is a peculiar mechanism that works both ways. If what one notices is entirely a matter of what one is interested in, wouldn't learning anything new be impossible? One learns something new by associating the idea with one already known. So, Elsie, here's the answer to your question. One learns something new by associating the idea with one already known. The concept of home is understood by most people. Everyone feels strongly about their home, right? The concept of home is understood by most people. By calling the country one's homeland, one is able to shift the sense of belonging and possessiveness to the idea of a country. Because after all, what is a nation? There's nothing. I mean, what is it? It's just an idea. Now somebody has a concept, India. It's just a concept. Nobody feels anything for India. So what do you say? It is my motherland. It is my homeland. Now, mother, you feel something. Home, you feel something. So that's how you create, how the people create transference of the idea. Similarly, by calling God the Father in heaven, one can create an allegiance to him as one has to one's father. You say, I'm God somewhere far away, so main kya karu? But you say, no, he's your Father in heaven. So that the allegiance, the respect, the devotion which you have for your father, you can therefore now transfer onto this unknown God. Shravana, or taking in information, is a delicately placed balance, like light. Too little light and one cannot see. Too much light also blinds one. We need to take in only as much as we can reflect on. So this is the next idea. Okay? So what have we studied? That desire, when you have the desire, you will be able to take in information there. If you do not have the desire, you cannot take in that information. So how do you make yourself take in information where you do not have desire? Because of your associating it with something that you do have a desire. So far, so good?
Yes.
All okay? Okay, very good. Then comes in the next idea that was brought around, which was that taking in information is a lot like light. If there isn't enough light, you cannot see. What happens if there's too much light? Again, you cannot see. So your Shravana has to be in that band. Otherwise, it will not help you know anything. Too much information. What does Socrates say? What does Bertrand Russell say? What does this person say? What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? What does this person say? What does that person say? What is his take on it? What is his stance on it? All of this only
Increases the confusion.
blinds us. Yeah, blinds us. Doesn't make us see anything. Therefore, all teachers have tried in various ways to sort of encapsulate the knowledge, make it less so that we will know. It's a very popular sort of system in India, which is called sutras. So the knowledge is given in sutra. Sutra means a rope or something. It's just like pithy aphorisms almost, where the whole knowledge is encapsulated, like a very famous sutra of Vedanta. Mahesh, give a very famous sutra of Vedanta.
Satya Jagat Mithya Jivo Brahmaina Para.
Yes, very good. One truth. The jiva, the individual, is Brahman. I'll tell you one thing. In half a line, I will tell you what all the scriptures have to say. The jiva is Brahman. The individual is God. The sutra literature, they just saying very pithy state. So everyone tries to do that. I mean, to explain, you elaborate, to make sure the point stays, you encapsulate, you do all these sort of things, but nobody can make you learn anything unless you want to learn it yourself. You have to be dedicated, otherwise nothing is going to happen. Right? But at least the principle we should understand. What is the principle we're discussing right now?
That it has to be taken in moderation.
In the right dose, like light. Too little light, you cannot see. If you decide to take in very little information, you won't get anything. If you take too much information, again, you won't get it. You have to know that sweet spot in between.
Much like antibiotics.
Yes. Otherwise, antibiotic will kill you only. Many medicines are like that. You have to know that right amount. And it's actually poison. Sometimes on the bottle also is written poison.
Goldilocks.
What?
Goldilocks.
Goldilocks. Okay, yes, like Goldilocks. You have to know that sweet spot. This much is fine. This is too little, this is too much. Now, what is that one thing which makes it too much or too little? How do you know? How will you know, okay, this much is enough or not enough?
Lack of result.
What, Ushashri? I can't hear you. You'll have to type it in. Can't hear you at all.
Goal. You get clarity. If you are clear about your goal, then you will have clarity. Then you know how much to take and no.
Okay, fine. That's one way of looking at it. Just answer the question in one word. What will determine how much you should take? One word.
Our intellect.
Okay, one word. At least you got to one word. That is a good thing. When I say one word, sometimes people just say a paragraph. One word.
The
One
same
word.
way how we know how much we should
You're
eat.
saying a paragraph, one word.
Okay.
Clarity.
One word.
Clarity.
Desire.
Now I know how many people have been listening in the class. Otherwise, I think everybody is listening.
Can I have 2 words?
Okay, two words. Tell us. Indians have to
Digestive.
bargain, huh?
Digestive capability.
Digestive.
Motivation.
No, the motivation is a bad one because people who overstudy, and overstudying is a really bad thing, is because they just love it and they do too much of it. We already studied this, by the way. We just did it. Nobody is listening. Asha, capacity of
Discipline?
what?
Is it discipline?
Discipline doesn't tell me, right? How much discipline means do the right amount. And the question is, how do I know what is the right amount for me?
What is required?
Okay, required for what?
To reach your goal.
That I do not know, right?
You can take decisions based on what you learn.
Well, really, you don't even need to learn to take decisions. All of us are taking decisions right, left, and center. No?
Will you get clarity of thought?
That's the effect. Nobody listens, right? Just did it. Mahesh, put it back on screen. Now you see how difficult it is to intake knowledge. Here, can you read the line? Who will read the line?
Too little light and one cannot see. Too much light also
Don't
blinds
read the
one.
whole paragraph. What is the use? Read the line that tells us.
Reflect.
Reflection, only what we reflect on.
Yeah, we need to take in only as much as we can reflect. That is your line about how much to take and how much not to take. Read book after book after book. And immediately forgot what it said. What use is it? Take in what you can reflect.
How is
But
that different from digestive capacity?
Digestive capacity doesn't tell us, no, what is that? Digestive capacity. I don't even know what you mean. Digested or digestive? Which one have you said?
Digestive, like how much we can digest the knowledge. We can only take it.
I heard digestive.
Oh, okay.
Okay, digestive is fine, but okay, you can say that, digestive if you like, but why don't you just say simple thing, reflection? I mean, because we all use the word, we know this word. Now you have coined a new one today, which is fine, but how much can you think about? How much can you work with? Right? You put as much food in your stomach as your stomach can work with, right? You don't put too little, in which case you'll die of starvation. You don't put too much, in which case other people will die of starvation. You eat what your body can handle.
But how will we still know that?
Are you reflecting on it? Then you will know that I need this much knowledge before I can reflect on it. And now I've taken more than I can think about.
Is it same as capacity to learn? Your own capacity to understand, learn?
No, because that can be your IQ also. How much can you think about? Yeah, Momita.
I feel I'm definitely reading a lot, but I feel I'm able to reflect on it also. Like I like reflecting on it, and I'm not sure whether I'm overdoing it. I don't feel I'm overdoing it because I like the study, but I am reading a lot of material.
Okay, that only you can do. No, but if you're a normal individual, doesn't usually study or reflect more than an hour, max hour and a half. But there's no real rule. Any more than that, you can strain yourself.
So are half of reflection or the Shravan part?
Reflection. When you study, your whole study, all of it. I mean, when you're in class, you're listening. So that is like most of it is listening. But when you're doing your own study, it is always recommended not to cross 1.5 hours. Because you see, it's better to be safe than sorry. So many people have studied so much that after some time, they have damaged their equipment and they cannot study anymore. Why do you think there's a schedule, right? You're given the time in the morning when you have the, there's a full schedule. You are given this much time to study. Some people very enthusiastically in the beginning want to study more.
Thank you.
You're okay, Mamita? You have to figure these things out yourself.
Yes, Janki, I think the 90 minutes time helps. Like, I think it's useful to have some sort of a self-imposed limit.
Yes, always.
Thank you.
Janki, 90 minutes is too much.
Yes. You don't have to do 90 minutes, but don't ever do more than that.
Yeah, 45 minutes is okay. Nobody can concentrate more than 45 minutes. This is my experience. Who is saying I'm doing 92 hours? He will collapse like anything. Is the time of my.
We don't talk about others. We can talk about ourselves. For everybody, 90 minutes should not be more than that. If you can do 90 minutes, do. There's no reason to do 90 minutes, but you should be doing at least half an hour, 45 minutes, I would imagine. If you feel you can't do that, check for 15 minutes. If you do less, you won't damage yourself. You will stay where you are. If you do too much, you will damage yourself. Reflect in how much time, Asha, up till you take in further information. Okay, so Mahesh. Yeah, Asha.
Sometimes it happens that we've taken in information today and it comes back to us after maybe a month or so, and then we can reflect on that. So then in that case,
information that you take, okay, today you learned whatever you learned in class. Now, tomorrow morning, you should reflect on it, right? So when you're reading your notes, then you read as much as you can reflect upon. You may have to read 5 pages of your notes before you can reflect on it. You may need to read 1 page of your notes. But then your next session of taking in information should be based on whether you, to your satisfaction, have reflected on what you studied.
Okay, thank you.
Mahesh, announcement about next month's classes. What announcement are we making?
We won't be there, so what will happen to the Friday class?
Oh, what will happen to the Friday class? Okay, so what will happen to the Friday class is that, next month is the course. And many people I can see from this class are coming to the course. Those of you who are not coming to the course, please do come to the course. Okay, so the ones who have left after that also, we'll meet together on Friday evenings for group discussion. Right? On these days, we will allocate one person who will be sort of the leader for that day. And then you all will discuss. There's no big group or small group. That day you discuss. You are all personally responsible for making sure that you and everybody else is staying on the point and not talking about it. We have Friday class right up to the end of this month. We have every Friday of this month, we have class. This is for 1st of July onwards, for the month of July. Yes, even on
30th. Okay.
Yes. We have Friday class every day of this month. Unless, of course, there's some delay in the. I'm flying on the reason they're asking is because the flight is on the 30th. So, but it's planned in such a way that one can reach in time for the class. But the problem is it is monsoon. So if there are delays, then one doesn't know about that. But otherwise, yeah, we will have.
Okay.